rising social media star who's generating a healthy flow of new leads. He's generating injury clients from his Voiceless Lawyer React social media videos, and he's generating criminal defense clients from Google local service ads. Here we go. Hi there, welcome back to the Grow with Cara show. Today we continue our interview series with successful attorney marketers. We're taking a close look at what's working, what's not working so well, the specific steps these attorneys took to get to where they are. And remember, these are simple steps that you too can follow to get on a similar path to growth. Okay, let's get right to it like we always do. Today, our special guest is attorney Jason Fagnano. Jason is the founder of Fagnano Law, a personal injury and criminal defense firm in South Florida. We're excited to have him here today. Welcome, Jason. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so to begin, Jason, tell us a little bit about your story and why did you launch the firm?
Sure. So I knew from a very early age, probably middle school, that I wanted to go in business for myself. My father worked for himself. I'd go to work with him. And then obviously, working odd jobs in high school and learning fairly quickly that having bosses isn't the best thing in the world. So I initially started at the state attorney's office as a prosecutor, where I was able to do over 50 jury trials, spent about 3.5 years there. And then I went to a local firm, a boutique firm that does personal injury and medical malpractice, spent about 3 years there. And then just decided, you know what, now is as good a time as ever. It was during the pandemic, but I was just motivated and went out on my own and haven't looked back since.
So was that like 2020, 2021? What?
That was, I think I filed for incorporation on August 1st of 2020.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So how were you bringing in cases early on when you just launched? How were you drumming up business?
Sure. So one of the most important things that I think attorneys in my position need to do is get a good foundation and a good network of people that they know and know through friends. I was fortunate enough to grow up in this area, so I practice where I grew up, and I have a lot of friends and family here. And initially, it was all word of mouth. I did get started on the social media fairly quickly, but just letting people, every time I had an opportunity to tell somebody what I do, if they'd listen to me, I would tell them. And then kind of built on that foundation through social media, because obviously you can reach a lot more people that way.
Super smart. Yeah, social media kind of supercharges that word of mouth, right? And we'll get into all your social media.
Exactly.
You're doing a great job. Yeah. So what type of cases is the firm primarily handling now? Give us an idea of case volume.
Sure. So I would say probably about 3/4 of my practice is personal injury cases, and that runs the gamut from your common auto accident cases to premises liability, products liability. I did a lot of medical malpractice at my old firm. Pretty picky about it, what cases to take here. So not a whole lot of medical malpractice, but if the right case comes along, I will certainly take that. And then the other 25% is criminal defense. I used to be a prosecutor, like I said, so I have that experience and with criminal law, so I figured might as well put that to use as well.
Mm-hmm. What are our case volume? About how many open files do you have?
I would say any given time, anywhere between 40 to 60 cases on average. There could be more, but I'm picky. One of my old bosses told me, one of the partners at my old firm told me early, and this probably the best advice he ever gave me. It's not about the cases that you take, it's the cases that you turn down. Yeah. And knowing what cases to turn down, knowing what cases are just going to be more work and more problems than they're worth. So I tend to try and only accept, higher end cases that I think are going to be worth the effort that I put into each case. So I would say I'm more of a quality based practice than quantity.
Yeah, less volume. Yeah, I think exactly. That is really great advice. How big is your team? How many attorneys and support staff?
So I'm the only full-time attorney. I do have a receptionist and I outsource a lot of the tasks that I have. I use Upwork, I use VAs. So I'm trying to keep the overhead as low as possible for as long as possible, but I believe that's going to be changing. I suspect that hiring more full-time people is inevitable, but right now it's working well with the VAs, as needed.
I really like that approach, especially early on to scale, right before you kind of, you're sure if you have enough work for those full-time employees and that major overhead, right? Going to sites like Upwork, getting those virtual assistants. Can you give us an idea of what type of work your VAs are helping you with?
Sure. I mean, really runs a gamut. I started initially hiring more marketing-based VAs to do some editing, some stuff with the videos and social media. I've now kind of moved on. I still do that, but I also use them for some of the legal work, in particular discovery. That's probably the part of my job that I like least. So, some of that form discovery stuff that a paralegal or legal assistant can do, responses, drafting discovery requests, scheduling matters. These are all things that I will employ VAs as needed to do.
Smart. Give you the time to handle the higher level stuff, the client that your clients really need. Yep. At what percentage pace is your firm currently growing, Jason?
When you say percentage, do you mean like the number of cases or?
Yeah, or revenue, just since launch. Give us an idea
Sure.
yeah.
Well, we were fortunate. We did very well the first year. One of my best years ever financially, since becoming an attorney. And
Wow.
obviously that is it's scary when you leave a guaranteed paycheck, but luckily it worked out. But
Yeah.
what I'm most proud of, what I'm most happy about, knock on wood, hopefully this continues. Year two, we doubled our revenue. So
Wow,
it
nice.
grew very quickly.
That's
And
incredible.
yeah, it was exciting to say the least. And now we're about halfway into year three. And I don't know that it's still on the double pace, but certainly growing, maybe something a little lower than that. But I don't expect to double my revenue every year.
Right.
But we're heading in the right direction, that's for sure.
Excellent. So let's talk about kind of what's fueling that growth. How are you marketing the firm? How are most of your clients finding you now?
Sure. So it differs based on the types of cases. The personal injury stuff, I shouldn't say I don't do any paid marketing or advertising. I have kind of tinkered with Facebook boosting posts, Instagram boosting posts, that sort of thing, but very, very little. I've gotten better results just with the organic social media. So I can't even remember the last time I paid to boost a post. So the personal injury cases are all organic. It's either going to be through family and friends and network that I've created, or through me getting the word out through free organic social media. The criminal cases I get via paid most of them, I should say, through paid advertising. I use Google's local service ads, and that has been very successful. It's just a different model with criminal. For a local service ad in a criminal case, I might pay $200. For the same type of ad in a personal injury case, I'm probably paying $2,000. And there are a lot of large firms around here with unlimited marketing budgets. So I decided I'm not even going to compete with them in the personal injury realm. But it's worked. Personal injury is social media and my network, friends and family, and the criminal stuff I'm able to get through advertising, and also obviously people who I know. Hopefully they don't get arrested too much though.
Well, that's great. I mean, you're right though, because social media has really sort of leveled the playing field, right? When it comes to, I mean, the massive firms with these giant marketing and advertising budgets, they have just as much chance of success on social media as anyone. So let's talk a little bit about social media. You're very active on TikTok. You have more than 36,000 followers. You're on Instagram. You're on YouTube. Tell us about your start on social media. How did you get into it initially?
Sure. Initially, what I had to do was just jump out of my comfort zone because I'm actually more of an introverted person. My friends, my wife would tell you I'm probably pretty quiet. But I knew that in order to get business, you have to be comfortable telling people what you do and just really stepping out of your comfort zone. So I was able to do that. I kind of forced myself to do that very early. I started initially, I was doing a lot of videos just about, your basic questions that it seems like most of the questions you get from clients are repeat questions. The clients have the same question again and again. So you start to realize what people who don't do this for a living, what they want to know and what they don't know. And I would take notes on my phone. I have a file, and just certain topics would pop into my head. A client would ask this question. That's a good topic for a video. So I was doing a lot of that. Initially started mostly with Instagram, doing more videos about, I would say legal topics. And then when I saw TikTok was taken off, and I realized, you're either going to jump on this bandwagon or you're going to get left behind. So I jumped on it. I kind of thought there was a more younger audience with TikTok, which I think is probably still true. So I tried different things with that, more entertainment based rather than just straight legal videos and talking about the law and all that. So, and a couple of them just started taking off. I couldn't believe it. I was in shock. I mean, it literally happened overnight with one video I can remember. And then you have one that goes quote unquote viral, and it just kind of snowballs from there. But in general, I would say the content that I try and make is two things, educational or entertaining. And if it can be both, that's the best case scenario.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Tell us about that first video that did go viral. What was the topic? What was it about?
Sure. So I do a lot of reaction videos, and I was on YouTube one day and I saw this hilarious video. I don't even know what you call the vehicle, but it was like a lift, some type of construction vehicle with a lift. And there was this, I don't know how else to say it, drunk guy on there acting crazy, but in a way that was likable. Like, he was just so funny, so hilarious. So I did a reaction video to that and kind of put a legal analysis, and I would just, rather than talk, I would let him do the talking. And then I would, write what my thoughts were. So people want to know, what are lawyers thinking in this situation? And it just took off. I had, I don't know, probably 100 followers at that point. And I think that video ended up doing like 300,000 views. And I was up to, probably close to 10,000 followers within days. So
wow. That's really cool. That's really cool. And those attorney reacts videos, those, I think that is your greatest chance of going viral, really. I mean, even when you're you're searching in TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, the autofill is, if you search lawyer, it's lawyer reacts videos, right?
absolutely.
And I think those are really easy, I think, to shoot, right? You just find an existing, an already popular, already trending video, and you put your commentary, your take on it, right? I mean, is it that simple?
It really is. I could not agree more. I obviously follow other lawyers who do this, and I'll be the first to tell you there are plenty of lawyer accounts that have much more polished, produced content than me. I'm not a tech person by any means. I'm not a videographer, but these are so easy to do, and it doesn't need to be polished to take off. And like you said, I mean, you have something that you can see it's already kind of gaining traction. People already like watching it. So now put your own spin on it, put a legal spin on it, and you're next thing you know, you're rolling.
Yep, yep, I love that. And I think you make a good point, Jason. Sometimes it's actually better to not be perfectly polished, right? It
Hmm.
really kind of shows your true self. It certainly displays your personality and helps you distinguish yourself. So I think that's a common misconception. A lot of the lawyers that I talk about, well, I have to have, this fancy equipment and high production value and it needs to be edited and perfect and posted. Actually, those videos tend to not perform as well. Have you had the same experience?
Absolutely. You are spot on. One of the things that I think is most important is just being authentic, being yourself, not trying to do too much. And people are hesitant and they're like, oh, should I post this? Do I need to have it, edited and filters and this, that, and just post it. The more you post, the better chance you have of something taken off. And then it gets easier after that.
Yep. Were you instantly comfortable in front of the camera, or was that kind of an evolution for you?
I wouldn't say comfortable. I wasn't. It wasn't that I couldn't do it. But I think it's accurate to phrase it that I forced myself to get in front of the camera. But I knew that. Look, like we said earlier, I don't have the millions and millions of dollars in marketing budget at these big billboard firms. So I need to utilize ways that are more cost efficient. And what's better than posting on social media? So I forced myself to get in front of the camera. I mean, on my personal pages before I started my firm, I very rarely ever posted anything. I hardly posted at all. If I posted, maybe it was like a birthday picture of my kids or something like that once a year, but did not post at all. So I just, I knew that as important as it is for me to go to a courtroom and win a hearing, it's just as important for me to market, get in front of the camera, let people know what I do. Because if I don't have clients, I'm never going to the courthouse to win that hearing.
Yep, yep, absolutely. Take me through your current process when it comes to creating social media content. You talked about finding inspiration for new video topics, those common questions that you get. Certainly the Attorney Reacts videos seem to be resonating. But are you shooting videos in batches? How often do you shoot? How much time are you dedicating? Give us some of those details.
Sure. I don't have a set schedule. I have certainly done the batch thing in the past, and sometimes I'll do it now. It really just depends on what my schedule is like that time. Um, inspiration comes in the strangest times. It'll be late at night. I'm at home or on the weekend, nothing to do with work, and I just have an idea. And that's, like I said, I have a content folder in my phone, and I know that if I don't plug it in now, I'm going to forget this idea that I have. So, and even if it's, I see a legal topic in the news, or I see a video that I think is relevant in the legal world, I will take notes on that. Not only do I have the content file, but I also have in my pictures, in my photos in my phone, I have a content file for all photos and videos. So I'll just throw it into that folder, and then I'll have notes on what I want to do. And when I have free time, which is getting less and less, I'll shoot. If I realize and I feel like I really haven't done much in a little while, I'll force myself. I'll say, look, put the legal work down. This is just as important. I will force myself. But between all the platforms, I certainly try and post, I mean, at a minimum, at least once a week. I was doing a lot more in the beginning.
Mhm,
I would say multiple times a week.
mhm.
And then it was working. My case law, or excuse me, my cases grew, the number of cases. So obviously I didn't have the same amount of time. But yeah, I would say at least once a week between all of the platforms. I would like to do more, and hopefully I'll be in a position where I have more time to do more.
Yep. What kind of help do you have? Are you doing this all yourself? Do you have someone that's shooting for you, editing, posting?
I do all the shooting. I have this friendly, I don't know if you can see this little tripod, I have the shotgun mic,
Nice.
I have this little light thing. So I do all the shooting myself. Sometimes, like I said, I will send it to a VA that I found. They're very inexpensive and they do good work. sometimes I'll just do it on myself. I mean, these apps have made it so easy to make, entertaining content with all the different tricks you can do on it. So, yeah, a lot of times I'll just do it myself. If I want something a little more polished, I will send it away. When I first started, when I opened the firm, I think literally the first week, I did have a professional legal graphics works, giving them a shout out. Great company, professional videographer come in and made some really professional, suited up commercials. And I will recycle those videos. But for the most part, I mean, I'm doing most of it by myself.
Great. And are you spending time engaging on social media, commenting, liking, that kind of thing?
Yes, absolutely. Especially on TikTok, because I would say probably get the most comments on TikTok. So, if it's hard to do it every day, but what will happen is I'll find myself, maybe I'm in a car and I'm going for an hour ride and I have some time to kill, and then I'll just start going through all my comments and everything, and I'll respond. So I mean, there might be, hundreds of responses within like an hour, and then you won't hear from me for another week or so. But I think it's very important to engage. I think the algorithm likes that. I think that kind of feeds the growth. And then, people, if they want to take the time, and especially the positive comments, if they take the time to do that, I'm happy to respond, engage, answer their questions.
And maybe you'll find some topic ideas in those comments, right? In those conversations to then fuel new content.
Absolutely. Yes. I've actually done that where I made a video just responding to somebody's question. And that's such easy content that you can do. I mean, if you're at a loss and you're like, I need to do something, but I don't have any ideas, just look at your comments. People they want to know what lawyers have to say. They'll ask you legal questions. You could just make a video based on that alone.
Yep, yep, yep. Let's try and quantify things a little bit if we can. So, is social media a sizable lead driver for the firm? What type of lead flow is coming through your social media?
A large portion. Now, I would kind of break that down into two categories. So like I said, I grew up here. I have a lot of friends and family, people that I don't see all the time. If it was not for social media, they probably wouldn't know what I do.
Right.
So I have the people who maybe I've known for 20 years, but haven't seen in 15 years. They will reach out to me through social media. We've been friends forever, even though we never see each other in real life.
Yep.
And I would say probably maybe even half of my cases come from contacts, but through social media,
Right.
but it's just not just some random stranger who follows me. It's somebody, a friend or a friend of a friend. And then, hey, I know you're doing this. Can you help me here? I have a family member who needs an attorney. And then I would say probably the other 35% would just be complete strangers who found me on social media.
Wow.
And that's huge.
That is.
And then, the rest are non-social media based leads.
Yeah, yeah, that's really impressive. So those two social media categories that you mentioned, what do numbers look like maybe monthly for that? How many leads are coming through a month?
It varies. And again, when you say lead, I get a lot of leads, but I turn down a lot of cases.
Sure.
So, I would say, you're getting dozens of leads a month, which, in the personal injury realm, especially like I said, I'm more of a quality over quantity type firm, is a decent amount. Now, how many I accept just depends on the cases. But there'll be months where it's just nonstop, and you go and you look at your DMs and it's like, wow, this is incredible. And then you'll have a few weeks where you don't get very much. So it just depends. But consistently, I think you're getting close to, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 leads a month on social media, but I don't take all those cases.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's great. That's great. I noticed you have a Jotform linked directly from your social profile. So an inquiry form that people can click on and fill out. Is that being used? Is that something that's helpful?
It is. So, I'm all about trial and error.
Mhm.
I think maybe been doing this for a couple months now. I saw the Jotform app and wanted to give it a try. I've tried many different things. I've used the direct texting where they can literally text right to your cell phone. And you don't have to give them your real cell phone number if you're worried about people calling you. But there's a fake phone number and it goes through Instagram and comes up to your real cell phone. So I've done that. The job form I like because it kind of qualifies the leads a bit for you. That form, it's going to put people in two different directions. I think the first question is, have you been arrested or charged with a crime, or have you been injured? And then based on their answer there, that'll bring them to a different place. And then based on their answer there, and it really qualifies and gets you the information that you need. So like if a big case is coming and you want to know right away, you have that information. You can call them back immediately if it looks kind of fishy and like it's a waste of your time. You don't have to get back to them. But yeah, I mean, I like the job form. I don't know that it's going to be the be all and end all. Like I said, I just try and switch it up, try new things, see what works, and I'm open to all kinds of different technologies.
It's kind of what marketing's all about, right? Let's
Absolutely.
test and try out what's going to work, what's going to resonate, and what worked last month maybe not work this month, right? So that's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I do like this form because it does exactly what you described. It qualifies, kind of lightly qualifies those prospects so that it does some self-screening. You don't have to, you kind of know how to prioritize that lead that comes in, but it's also not too overwhelming. I don't think, like I have it open right now. You ask, when were you injured? Did you receive medical treatment? Have you had a consult with any other lawyer? So it's just some basic, easy to answer questions that isn't putting too much on the prospect, but also gives you some really valuable information, I would imagine.
Exactly. I think if you're asking too much, people get scared and people don't want to spend hours filling out all this information. So just keep it short, sweet, to the point. I've found really across all platforms, any type of inquiry-based technology, that short and sweet is the best way to go.
Yeah, I agree. So you mentioned you're not really boosting posts anymore, right? This is pretty much all organic.
Yes, I haven't. I think maybe last November, maybe early December was the last time I boosted a post. And when I do, it'd be for like a week here just to try different things if I have an idea. But yes, it's been at least 6 months since I've boosted a post. It's all organic. I mean, the boosts, they got me a couple cases,
Yeah, yeah.
but the vast majority of the cases have been through just the organic social media.
I noticed recently you've done some kind of giveaways and some other sort of contests on social. Have those worked well for you?
Yeah, so I think what you're referring to is there are
Camus.
local, what is that? The Camus?
The Camus, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody loves the Camus.
Yeah.
That was actually I set up a booth at a local, that was an Italian festival in my area, and every time people would come, I think they had like close to 100,000 people over the course of the weekend go to that festival. So I mean, a lot of people. And every time they come by the booth, you have this big magnum of Camus, which people seem to love Camus. And they, oh, how can I win that? How can I win that?
Nice.
And I say, well, just drop a card, or just I have a notepad. They can write their email address, and I tell them we're going to do a drawing at the end. We're not going to bother you. We're not going to put you on an email list. We may email you once just to let you know, thank you. You have won, you haven't won. But the whole purpose was to just kind of create a network. And then what I did is, obviously the person who won was very happy and they came to the office in person. But even the people who didn't win, I sent them one email so they have all my contact information in their email folder, because, especially with injury cases, you never know. It's so random. It's very hard to target a specific audience because anybody can get injured. There's no specific demographic who could be an injury plaintiff. It's just completely random. So I wanted my contact information to be in their email folder, so that maybe 6 months down the road, when something happens to them or friend or family member, they say, I met a personal injury attorney at that festival a while back. I think he sent me an email. Let me go look, and then you get people calling you.
I love that. That's really, really smart. And you're also kind of taking the offline online too, right? You're kind of
Hmm.
bridging that, those in-person events and getting, not only their email address, but sounds like they're following you as well. Do you
Absolutely.
frequently attend community events? Is that something you do often?
As much as possible, yes. I actually have a very close family friend who has a production company and he puts on festivals all over South Florida. So
Nice.
that's convenient. He's been great. And, I'm able to set up a booth at the firm at all of those festivals. So whenever I have an opportunity to, I jump on it. I think it's very important to be active in the community. Um, you know, People want to see that lawyers do good things too. A lot of times we get a bad reputation, especially personal injury attorneys. So I think it's important to try and change people's preconceptions and show that, look, we're we're good people. We're actually most of us, the vast majority of us, are helping out people who have been wronged through no fault of their own. And we're not just out trying to make a quick buck, but we're looking for justice. And on top of that, we do good for the community. We donate, I sponsor my kids' t-ball team, things like that, just to try and build some good grace in the community.
Yeah, yeah, doing good is definitely good for business. Absolutely. So Jason, social media is obviously a national platform. Are you referring any out-of-state social leads to other attorneys?
Absolutely. And that's a good point because, one of the things, because it is a national platform, a large number, if not the majority number of leads that you get will be in a jurisdiction where I'm not licensed to practice. So I use those in multiple ways. I will absolutely refer them out. And then, you're building a relationship with the attorney that you're referring them to. And hopefully, everybody comes to Florida at some point for vacation, go to Disney. They know somebody who was hurt or God forbid, arrested in Florida. They need an attorney. Well, now they're going to reciprocate and send the cases back to me. If the rules allow a referral fee, I have no problem taking a referral fee because I know I pay out a lot of referral fees. So, there's just a lot of positives that can come from that.
Yeah, that's a nice little bonus, right, to social media. Did you
Exactly.
build this network through social media, or how did you kind of build the network, the referral network?
Most of the out of state
Yeah.
attorneys, yes, through, well, I would say a good portion is through social media. I'm also involved in some national, the American Association of Justice, some organizations that are national. So that helps too. But yes, just like I hope people like watching my content. I like watching other people's content too. So I've watched and continue to and follow a lot of out of state attorneys, and they'll put a comment and on one of my videos, and I'll do the same with theirs, and we're encouraging each other. And then next thing I know, I have a case in their jurisdiction. I will absolutely send them a direct message, and I've gotten reciprocations as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of guests that I've had on this show have become referral partners and really kind of building that referral network. For our audience watching, do you have any states where you're looking to add partners specifically?
A lot from the Northeast. If there's any attorneys up there, up in New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, it seems like we get a huge influx down here in South Florida of people from the Northeast. So I would say that would be the best network. I have a few attorneys, but if I have an attorney in New Jersey and I need somebody in New York, you don't always have an attorney in every single state. So that would probably be the area that I would be most interested in building my network is the Northeast.
Good. Let's just quickly touch on YouTube because we didn't talk too much about that. I know you're very active. Tell us about your approach on YouTube.
Sure. So YouTube, I like, you can do longer form content. I think TikTok and even Instagram have changed recently to allow you to do some longer form, but YouTube was, if you want to post a 15, 20, 30-minute video, YouTube was the place to do it. So I jumped on that. The initial commercials that I did with the professional company I put on YouTube. And then, before this, I never even heard of this. And it might be be because it's relatively new, but these YouTube shorts, I think it's basically their version of TikTok. But the algorithm is incredible. Some of the other videos that I've done are reacting to songs. A lot of songs, they touch on legal issues in all different genres, from Carrie Underwood, Before He Cheats. I know I did that one, to a lot of rap songs. So I would do a reaction video to the song and what I'm thinking when I hear those videos. And one of them I did to a South Florida rapper, YMW Melly, if I'm getting that right. And I just put it up as a YouTube short, not thinking anything of it. I had no idea. And it now has 15 million views. It's
Whoa.
insane.
Whoa.
15 million views. And people are still viewing. I mean, this at least over a year ago now since I posted. Every day I check my Gmail and I see so-and-so commented on that video. I mean, it's still growing. It's nonstop. It's crazy.
How
So
cool. How
YouTube
cool.
Shorts are that's a really, really good platform.
Wow, that's cool. So it sounds like you're posting exclusive content, so you're not necessarily posting the same content to TikTok that you are to YouTube Shorts, and
There's definitely overlap.
okay.
I would say Instagram, again, it's more professional, legal based. I'm not doing so much of the just straight entertainment stuff on Instagram. So maybe I would call that a little more of a professional type platform, whereas YouTube and TikTok, I'm gonna have fun. I want to let people know what I do, but I also want to have fun and entertain them. So a lot of the TikTok videos, because I got so used to the app and their editing and I was comfortable with it, so I would just make those on the TikTok app and then I would just post them on YouTube Short because it was already done. So definitely some overlap, but there's also some exclusivity where I'll just post something on one app. And I also use Facebook as well.
Oh yeah. Right. Are you using AI either in your practice for marketing or daily work?
I am tinkering, shall we say. I have not actually utilized it in terms of posting an AI made video yet, but I know it's the future. I believe it's on the verge of just taking off, and it's going to be part of everybody's everyday life, no matter what industry you are in. So I'm trying to grasp it. I mean, it really blows my mind. I'm like, what is going on here? But I'll mess around with it. I'll ask it legal questions and see what kind of responses. I know that you can literally have AI make a video for you, which to me is just crazy. I have not done that yet, but I'm certainly not opposed to it. And once I'm a little more comfortable with it, I hope to use it a lot more.
We'll check back with you in a few months and you can let us know how
Sounds
you're
good.
using it. Yeah, that's good. So before we wrap up, Jason, I always like to ask, if a lawyer watching only has time to adopt one, maybe two of your tips, what would you recommend?
The point that I made early, whenever you go anywhere, whenever you meet somebody new, tell them what you do, how you help people. There is nothing that will replace face-to-face communication, and people remember. I think Maya Angelou said it, not what you said, but how you made them feel. So if you can express the passion you have for your job, which I truly do. I'm passionate about what I do. And if you can express that and tell people what you do every time you have an ear, I would say absolutely do that. And then based on that network of people that you're meeting in face, will you grow your social media on top of that? And obviously you can reach a lot more people through social media. Take advantage of any type of free marketing, obviously social media, but if you can market in any way whatsoever and it's not going to cost you anything, there's no reason not to take advantage of that.
Absolutely. Tell everyone you can what you do, how you can help, express your passion. Your passion very clearly comes through, Jason. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You've been super generous. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Lots of great tips from Jason today, right? Here are the main takeaways I see. One, video creation doesn't have to be hard. Jason's lawyer react videos are easy to create once you have found the underlying video of course, to comment on. He doesn't even have to talk about the underlying video. He simply adds a few captions. So if you can make facial expressions, you can produce this type of video. It's that simple. And you can ask a team member to search for those good videos to comment on, so you don't have to spend your time doing that. Number 2, YouTube Shorts remain underutilized. Lawyers haven't yet embraced YouTube Shorts in volume. That means you definitely have an opportunity to stand out by jumping in early. Jason has already amassed nearly 26,000 YouTube subscribers, which that's a tremendous success on a channel that is much harder to grow than, say, Instagram or TikTok. Number 3, a short form can help with case screening. Jason's use of his bio's Jobform, that's brilliant. Even though he accepts cases in 2 specialties, injury and criminal defense, his form only asks 8 questions before getting contact info. The answers tell Jason who's worth contacting, especially with him being so selective about the cases that he does accept. Number 4, a national referral network can be created using social media. We've now heard many times from my guests on this show who've built their nationwide referral networks using social media comments and DMs, right? Being successful on social media, it really enters you into kind of this exclusive club whose members are readily accepted by other social media stars. And once accepted, you will receive case referrals in return. And number 5, don't forget street marketing. The best marketing programs use multiple channels, some new, some traditional. Letting people know what you do for a living, it's a tried and true technique for obtaining cases, so tell everyone you meet, especially Uber drivers, especially bartenders, if you practice injury and criminal law, just like Jason does. I hope Jason's tips have been helpful. Next week's interview, can't miss it. It's with New Jersey injury and criminal solo, growing rapidly using social media, Facebook ads, local SEO, and legal directories. See you next time. Keep marketing. Bye-bye.